What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiancé Before the 90 Days, Season 6, Episode 14, Dirty Dancing. Let's get started with Cleo and Christian, the manipulator, the gaslighter, actually. So they're preparing Thanksgiving dinner, and the random American girl that Christian had invited to Thanksgiving dinner, a person that he doesn't know, a person that Cleo doesn't know, he just took it upon himself to invite this stranger to Cleo's apartment or Airbnb, wherever they're staying, for Thanksgiving dinner. Not knowing if this person is going to end up robbing them blind, if this person is psychotic, not knowing any of that stuff, he just decides to invite this complete stranger over for Thanksgiving dinner. So luckily, this random American girl that he met at the pub, she's not able to make it, right? So later on that night, Jane comes over for Thanksgiving dinner. Christian wants to try to win Jane over because he knows that Jane really doesn't care for him, and Jane doesn't think that he's a good match for Cleo. So he wants to try to impress Jane so that he can change her opinion of him. So dinner is served. Cleo mentions that the American girl that Christian met at the pub was invited to dinner, that Christian had invited this person to dinner. So Jane wanted to know, when you're out and about, do you ever strike up conversations with men, or are you just seeking out the conversation of women? And Christian says, well, women make up 50% of the population, so, they're everywhere. And, he's trying to make it seem as if it's not like he's seeking out women over men or whatever. It's just that, hey, there's a lot of women around, and, I'm just a very friendly guy, and I start up conversations with strangers. So Christian didn't like that Cleo had even brought up this whole situation with the girl that he met at the pub, because he's trying really hard to make Jane like him. So Cleo points out that, well, it seems like you're only speaking to women, though, because every single time that you're meeting some random stranger, it's always a female. So Christian says, well, there's nothing really weird about that. He says, women are people too. And, I see them as people, so I like to talk to them. So he tries to do this whole pro-feminism spin on the shenanigans that he's doing. Like, it's not obvious. Christian, to me, when he said that, when he was like, well, women are people too, and, they deserve to be talked to and they deserve to be conversed with, it was just like, that was such a low blow. And that was really playing on everybody's intelligence. And I don't know if he was trying to be funny or what it was, but for him to make light of this when it's really bothering Cleo, it was just really sad and pathetic that he does not. Well, I don't think he doesn't see it. I think Christian sees exactly what he's doing, and he sees the effect of his actions on Cleo. He clearly sees it, that she doesn't like it. She's bothered by it. It wakes up her insecurities and her anxiety about the relationship. He totally knows this, but he's going to play stupid. He's going to play dumb. He's going to play coy because he's a master manipulator, and he's going to gaslight her to making her feel like, well, there's something wrong with you to question me just being friendly. I'm just a friendly, extroverted person. So Jane says, what's your motivation in starting conversations with random strange women? Christian responds by saying, well, I'm really extroverted, and he says that because he's so extroverted, when he's out and about and he's around other people, he feels this pressure to engage with others. Like, he can't just sit there and not talk to anybody. Like, he just feels like he's in a pressure cooker, and he just has this I don't know, this natural instinct or whatever it is to start conversations with people because he's super extroverted and he's super friendly. So Cleo says, well, when you're in a bar and you start talking to a woman, you're giving off the impression that you're interested in them. Because if it was me sitting in a bar alone and a man came up to talk to me, I'm thinking he finds me attractive and he wants to get to know me better and he's coming on to me. And so Christian says, well, I'm just being friendly. So because he invited this random American girl over for Thanksgiving dinner, the one who ended up canceling on him, because he invited her and because he told Cleo about her, he thinks that he's proving to her that there's nothing nefarious going on. There's nothing, torrid going on, because I'm telling you, I'm being open with you that I met this girl and I invited her over for Thanksgiving dinner. And because I'm presenting it to you and not hiding it from you, then that should tell you that there's nothing going on between me and this girl, and that I had no intentions of whatever with this girl. It's just me being super friendly. So Jane, this is the end of the night, at the end of the dinner, and Jane ends up leaving. And so, well, she leaves not because she's upset or anything. She leaves because it's the end of the night and they're done with dinner. And so once again, she walks out feeling bad about Christian. His attempts in trying to impress her and trying to change her opinion about him did not work. She walks away thinking that this is not a good match for Cleo. She still doesn't like Christian. She still thinks that, there's something going on with him below the surface, and she just doesn't like what she sees. So after Jane leaves, Christian addresses with Cleo how uncomfortable it made him that she had brought up the girl that he met at the pub, because he's like, he's trying to win over Jane, and now you're bringing up something that is, it made me really uncomfortable for you to bring it up, and you brought it up in a way that made it seem like I was doing something wrong. And Christian says that, you're making it seem like I'm this creepy guy that's, approaching lonely single women in dark bars. And, I just don't like the spin that you're putting on it. And Cleo says, that's not what I'm trying to say at all. And she ends up walking away because she's frustrated with him, because he wants to play dumb. He wants to act like he doesn't understand where she's coming from, and he knows exactly where she's coming from. You and I are in a relationship, so the fact that you're entertaining other women for whatever reason, that you can't do that, because me and you, we're working on something. So if you have this overwhelming need to start conversations with strangers, even start them with men, or don't talk to anybody at all, or just stay home and don't go out, because we're working on something. We're trying to build something here. We're trying to get to know each other. There's something going on between us. And here you are inviting randoms, and here you are meeting other people at bars and wherever else. Christian totally 1000% knows what he's doing. And I think that Christian, he wants to create that sense of, untrustworthiness. He wants to create the doubt in Cleo's mind, because he's not interested in having a full-blown relationship with Cleo. I think the thing with Christian, I think that maybe he really was attracted to Cleo, and knowing that she's a trans woman, he was interested in that aspect of her. And I think that he was curious to know what would it be like to be with a trans woman. I don't think he wants to be with her in a relationship way, building a future type of way. I think he was just curious as hell to see what it was like. And I'm talking about like a sexual curiosity. And I think that he got what he wanted. He explored Cleo, and now I think he's over it. And so now he wants to create this doubt in her so that she can hopefully be the one to walk away from the relationship. Because I think he's worried that if he tries to break it off, she might still want to be with him. And so she might still want to pursue him, or maybe he just wants to avoid the whole ugly scene of breaking up with a girl. So he's going to plant these seeds of doubt in her so that she's the one that walks away. And I know that I'm making it more complex than it needs to be, but I'm just trying to understand Christian. I'm just trying to understand how you can be defending your actions of meeting random women, and you know that this is hurting your girlfriend, your potential girlfriend, or whatever's going on between him and Cleo. You know it's hurting her feelings, and you continue to do this, and you're so blatant about it, and you're just throwing it in her face that this is what you do. You see nothing wrong with it. You're questioning her while she's questioning you, and you're not going to stop doing it. So she ends up just leaving because she's like, I'm not getting anywhere with him. So she walks away, and she locks herself in her room. In his confessional, Christian says, I don't want to say that I'm going to stop meeting random women and talking to strange women. I don't want to say that I'm going to stop that, because if I'm going to stop that, it's implying that what I was doing was wrong, because you stopped doing the things that are wrong. So stupid for him to say that. It doesn't, what you think of it, it doesn't matter. If you think it's wrong, if you think it's right. The point is, it's hurting Cleo. And that's why you should stop doing that. That alone should be reason enough for you to stop doing it. Is he going to stop? I don't know. Like I said, I don't understand Christian. I'm trying to make sense of him and I can't, you know. When I'm trying to put two and two together with Christian, I'm getting 7. It's not making any sense to me. Because I'm thinking that he doesn't really want to be with her, but then like in the next episode or whatever, you know, he's going to probably propose to her, propose marriage to her. But then you're doing things that are hurting her feelings. So I don't know what's going on, but he's definitely gaslighting her. I know that for sure. I think he's a manipulator. And in my personal opinion, like I said, I think he wants to plant the seeds of doubt so that she ends up breaking up with him instead of him having to do the dirty work of breaking up with her. Moving on to Dempsey and Statler. So Dempsey tells that Statler has been in England for about a week. And I was like, it's only been a week? Statler has only been in England for about a week? And they've gone through so much in a week. They've gone through a lot in a week. Okay, so Dempsey, this is the time that she introduces Statler to her friends. So they all meet up at a bar or a restaurant, and the conversation comes up about Dempsey's birthday that's right around the corner. So Statler tells Dempsey's friends that she has planned a surprise trip to Scotland to celebrate Dempsey's birthday. So the friends ask, okay, so what are y'all going to be doing when you get to Scotland? And Statler says that they're going to be having a lot of sex. She says they're going to be doing it, you know, all day, every day. And then she proceeds to talk about her sex life, how she's really open with it, how she's, you know, experimented doing all kinds of things, just wilding out there, sex clubs and sex parties and orgies and all kinds of stuff. And she's talking about this to people that she is meeting for the very first time. And so their friends are just like in shock listening to her. And their friends say in their own little confessionals, they say, well, I don't know why she was telling us all of this. Maybe this is just how Americans are. No, absolutely not. This is not how Americans are. This is how Statler is. Maybe Americans are a little bit more free with their sexuality or whatever, but not all Americans are going to start talking about sex clubs and sex parties and orgies with people that they just met. This is totally a Statler thing. So, and Statler does this because she's extremely uncomfortable. And it seems like whenever she's not sure of herself in any kind of situation, she just wants to talk about her sexual prowess. She wants to talk about how much of a sexual being she is. I don't know why she thinks that this puts people at ease or this makes people think better of her. I don't know why she hasn't understood yet, and she's like in her 30s, that this really makes people uncomfortable. Because even with Dempsey, you know, she was always talking about, you know, her sexual prowess, how she's so sexually active and has experimented with all these things, and it made Dempsey uncomfortable, and it would make the average person, regardless of culture, really uncomfortable. Unless you're having a conversation with somebody in a sex club or you're in the middle of an orgy, don't talk about that stuff. Statler, don't talk about that stuff. It makes people very, very uncomfortable. But I don't know why she doesn't get that. And she's like in a social setting, like the way she was with the friends, she was feeling awkward. She was feeling unsure of herself. Like, why don't you just resort to talking about the weather, or just resort to asking questions about them, or asking questions about what's it like living in England, or asking questions about their culture? You know, ask questions to other people, ask whoever you're around with, get to know them better when you start feeling unsure of yourself, instead of like having what she called word vomit and just talking about the most uncomfortable things. So, after we got through that hump, they start talking about Statler moving to England. She says that she plans on moving to England, and the friends asked her, oh, so you must really like it here. And Statler says, no, I hate it. And I thought that was kind of rude. She was like, no, I really hate it here. It's really cold and I don't like the cold, but I'll move here for Dempsey, as if Dempsey even asked her to move here. Like she's sacrificing so much to live in England, and Dempsey doesn't even want her living in England. So when Statler decides to, she gets up to go use the bathroom, and so the friends are talking to Dempsey, and basically they give her the impression that they're kind of worried about this relationship. And Dempsey's friends are like, she's moving way too fast. Y'all need to slow down. If she wants to live in England, that's fine, but we would not advise you and her living together. She needs to get her own place. So the friends were not really impressed with with Statler. So, but Dempsey tried to stand up for Statler by telling her friends, but she's really nice and she's really sweet and, she's really into me. But yeah, the friends were like, yeah, this does not look like a really good match. So moving on from there, the next time that we see the couple, they're on their way to Scotland. So on their way there, while they're driving there, Dempsey says that she talked to her friends, and her friends told her that they thought that Statler was a little bit too codependent. And to anybody else, if they were told that they were codependent, it would be kind of like an awakening, like I'm codependent. Well, I need to change that. But not Statler. She was like, what's wrong with being codependent? She goes like, okay, and yeah, I am codependent because when I'm with someone that I love, I want to be with them all day, all night. I want to be all up under you, on you, next to you. Yes, I'm codependent and you make me happy and I want to be with you all the time. So she doesn't even realize that codependency is not good, because it seems as if that other person can never be away from you. You're like so dependent on being around them that y'all won't be able to have separate lives, have time to yourselves as an individual. You lose yourself in the relationship. You lose your identity in the relationship. So Statler, no, babe, it's not good to be codependent on someone else. So to her, being codependent is like a sign of love. Statler, then they get to their destination, which is a castle. So she surprises her with, this little getaway at an actual Scottish castle. So the first thing that they do when they get there, they take a romantic bubble bath. And because, they're like in this romantic mood, Dempsey tells us in her confessional that, I know that she loves me and she wants to be with me. And so instead of trying to push her away and to run away from this, I just might as well just give in, because she is really good to me and I want to be with her. So now she's like, I guess the bubbles made all the doubts float away, and now she really wants to try to make it work with Statler, which is fine, okay? But you even took notice of the red flags in her. So now that you're saying that you really want to be with her, you want to make it work with her, good luck. Good luck, Dempsey, on all of that. Moving on to Gino and Jasmine. So Gino is hoping that when they got into their fight in their own confessional, and Jasmine started screaming at him that she cheated on Gino with her ex as recently as a month ago, and that being back with her ex made her feel good and the sex was good and all of that. Now that she screamed all of that and stormed out, Gino goes to look for her because he wants to talk to her. So he's hoping that Jasmine didn't mean what she said when she said that she had been with her ex. So he finds her outside. He sits down next to her. They start having the conversation, and he asks her, is it true what you said, that you were cheating on me? And Jasmine says, no, it's not true. She says that she only said it because she was hurt when he said that she was just as important to him as his family, because she wants to be the most important person. She wants to be put on a higher pedestal than his family. And so because he refused to say that to her, that's when she blurted out, and I've been cheating on you with my ex, and it's wonderful. So she tells him that, we should probably, the thing about Jasmine saying that, about her saying, as recently as a month ago, I've been with my ex, for her to give like a specific time frame, it makes me think that she probably really was, because if she just wanted to hurt him, first of all, you can't say that. you just can't say that if you just want to hurt someone. You can't give the implication or the illusion, or the idea or the theory that you were with your ex. You just can't do that. But then for her to like double down and then give a specific time frame and say it was about a month ago, I'm thinking there's like a ring of truth to it. But Gino's an idiot. So she says, no, it's not true. I only said that to hurt you. But then she says, you know what? I don't think it's going to work out between us and I want us to break up. So she says that she doesn't feel loved or appreciated by Gino because he doesn't want to put her higher. He doesn't want to put her higher than his family. And Gino says, I didn't say that my family, because she said something like, you said that your family is more important to you than I am. And Gino says, I didn't say that. I said that you were just as important to me as my family is. So she says, I want to break up with you. I don't want to be with you. I want you to go away, get away from me. And so he picks up his bags and he leaves and he walks away. This is just what they do. This is the Jasmine and Gino formula. They yell, they scream, they cuss each other out, they say horrible things to each other, then they make up and they're back together again and on. You know, it's all, oh, my little papito, da, 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 and then they get mad and they yell and scream at each other again, and then it's just dumb and stupid. I don't even want to talk about Jasmine and Gino. Moving on to Rosman and Amanda. So Amanda now, she's on the she's trying to like make up to Rosman after she said those horrible things to him, that he could never compare to her dead husband. Her dead husband was a provider. He would have done anything for his family. And she's accusing him of like, you just want to come to America so I can take care of you while you pursue your acting dreams, and you're not going to be a provider to my children. And, you know, just horrible things. And he was hurt by the things that she said. Well, for whatever reason, I really couldn't quite pinpoint why, when, and where she decided to have a change of heart, because it looked like she was about to leave and come back to America. It looked like she was over Rosman because of the fact that he wasn't going to work 6 jobs to take care of her and her kids while he pursues his acting career, because you know, he kind of gave the impression that you don't have to take care of me, but I'm still going to pursue my acting career one way or the other when I get to America. And she didn't like that. She wanted him to say, yes, I'll put my dreams on hold to provide for you and the children until, you know, I don't know what she was expecting him to say, but whatever he said, it wasn't what she wanted to hear. And so it seemed like she was through with him, but now she wants to make up with him. She wants him to forget about what she said. She wants him to understand that you don't have to, you know, be like my ex-husband. I accept you as you are. And so now they're on their way to Croatia because he wants to introduce her to his family. So on the trip there, she's super lovey-dovey. She's super affectionate with him. You know, she knows how to get to him, right? She thinks that if she's all sexual, like a little sex kitten with him, he's going to forget about the horrible things that she said to him. And he's going to be like, oh, okay, we're made up now. Everything is fine. But he's like, no, you said some really horrible things. I don't know exactly where we stand anymore. We just have to give it time and take it day by day. They get to the family's home. He introduces her to his parents. He introduces her to his brother. The mother cooked a wonderful dinner for them, and they're sitting at the dinner table and they're eating. And she wants to know why the mother did not get along with his ex-wife. And I'm thinking, is this really the conversation that you want to have at dinner? Don't you want to like ask them questions, kind of get to know them better? Why are you bringing up the ex-wife at this particular moment? There's, you know, y'all can talk about that later. Maybe, you know, she can have a private conversation with the mother over coffee a little bit later on. But at the dinner table, this is the time that we all need to get to know each other and ask each other questions. Don't bring up, you know, the ex-wife. So she tells Rosman, ask your mother why she didn't get along with your ex-wife. And so Rosman asked, and then I think it was the father that actually answered. The bottom line is they didn't like the ex-wife because she was really pushy, she was very bossy, she was very demanding, and she was trying to change Rosman, and she was trying to push her own beliefs on Rosman. And it seemed like she was a very bossy, controlling type of woman, and they did not like how she treated their son at all. And while he's talking about this, Rosman's father actually starts crying and gets emotional because, you know, I guess he's remembering how horribly his son was treated by this woman. And So after they have dinner, the parents have their little confessional, and they tell us that they're not really feeling Amanda. I forgot exactly what they said, but they don't get a good feeling about Amanda and Razvan either. And the funny thing is, Razvan even said in his confessional that he is beginning to have some serious doubts about Amanda. He says something like, when he looks in her eyes, like he really doesn't see the love there for him, or something to that effect. So I wonder if it's because he senses from his parents that they don't like her, so now he's beginning to have some serious doubts about her, or if he's really not over what she had said to him earlier about comparing him to her deceased husband. So I don't know, but Rasmus is acting like, I don't know, I'm not really feeling this. But Amanda's one of those, she's like that type of girl where she's got to use her womanly ways, her sexuality, to get men to do what she wants them to do. And that's why she was all kissy, lovey, very handsy with him. And we saw a clip of next week's episode where she really puts it on him. And, she really throws down in the bedroom, and I guess to try to get him to to change his mind about her, because she probably feels that he's slipping away, and so she's going to use her sexuality to try to get him back. And I think that's just very weak, because once it's all said and done, once y'all are done, doing your thing, y'all are still left with the problems and the issues that are not resolved yet. So if he feels insecure because you're comparing him to your deceased husband, the sex isn't going to make that insecurity go away. So it's just very shallow of her to try to fix the problem with sex, when you really need to be having some serious conversations, or just give him his space. Or maybe this just isn't the relationship for you. Maybe y'all are just not that compatible. I don't know, but I just really didn't care for how she tries to win him over with her body instead of with her mind. Moving on to Nicola and Misha. So when we see them, they're in church and they're praying. After they go to church, they go to the Dead Sea. So at the Dead Sea, Nicola is wiping or putting mud all over Misha's body. And Misha thought this was going to be like a really romantic moment, him rubbing this mud on her. But he was doing it like a caveman, she said, just slapping it on her and rubbing a little bit too aggressively. So it wasn't romantic at all. So then she thought that she can take this opportunity and use it like a sex ed type of situation, because she was asking him, because you're a virgin and you don't know anything about women or sex, do you have any questions to ask me? And he was like, Misha, I know everything I need to know about women. I know everything I need to know about sex, because I have friends who've had sex with women. So they tell me everything. I know what I need to know. No, I don't have any questions. So then later on, they go to the place where Jesus carried the cross. And so we see that. Then they go to the place where Jesus was buried and where he was resurrected. Then after that, they go to a cafe, and Nicola decides to have a conversation with Misha. Her trip is winding down. She's about to come back to America. And he thought that by this time, he would have already proposed to her. But he's seeing some cracks in their relationship. So he decides to address them at the cafe. So he tells Misha, one thing that I've noticed is I'm working on a lot of things. You pointed out to me where I was lacking. You wanted me to be more affectionate. You wanted me to be more caring and more romantic. And I did all of that. And then I'm realizing that whenever I tell you that I love you, you don't say that you love me back. And so Misha kind of thought about it, and she was like, okay, because he gave her some examples, and she was like, okay, you're right. There were times when I should have said I love you back, but I didn't. And I do apologize for that. But the reason why I'm not really feeling like saying it to you is because when I arrived in Israel, things were not what they seemed. Things were really different between us. And I guess because she realized exactly what she was working with, it kind of turned her off a little bit. As far as him not being that caring, affectionate man, and him not really supporting her, and kind of like at some points, abandoning her. Like, for example, when they went to his mother's home, and she thought that he was gonna really try to sell the relationship to his mother, but instead he was like, no, you tell her, you talk to her, you tell her what you want to tell her about our relationship. She felt like I don't even have his support. So yeah, she was like, well, when I came here, things were not exactly what I thought they were going to be, and so maybe that's the reason why I didn't just naturally say I love you back, but I do love you, and I do want us to work out. But basically, where their little segment ended was that neither one of them is really sure on what they're going to do with their relationship. He's beginning to doubt her feelings for him. She's beginning to wonder if this is, I guess, the guy that she really wants to spend the rest of her life with. She says she loves him. She says that she's very physically attracted to him. But as far as his he doesn't really show the things that she wants to see in a lifelong partner, because he's not used to being in a relationship with a woman. So he doesn't know. There's like certain nuances, that men who are used to being with women, men who really understand women. There's certain ways that they act, and there's certain things that they do because they know that these are the things that can make a woman happy. And Nicola knows nothing of that. He's very dry in his delivery. He's very matter of fact, to the point. He doesn't know how to finesse. He doesn't know how to flirt. He doesn't know how to be affectionate. He doesn't know how to be flirty. He doesn't know how to do any of that stuff. And it's just like, it's very dry being with him. As far as, his knowledge on the Bible and Jesus and Christianity, he's great at that. I mean, he might need to consider going to theology school or being a tour for the religious areas in Jerusalem or something, a tour guide. But when it comes to women, especially like American women, where we have a very romanticized view of love and relationships, Nicola just doesn't fit the mold at all. And I think that's what's kind of turning her off. So yeah, good luck to all of that. Moving on to David and Sheila. So it's their first full day at their little getaway, the little romantic retreat, and they decide to take a boat to go snorkeling. And on the way there, they're signing, and David is really happy that Sheila is really putting in an effort to learn American Sign Language. And so they're signing, they're communicating, and everything is going pretty well. So later on that evening, they go out to dinner, and this is when David wants to propose. He plans on proposing over dinner, but all of a sudden he sees that Sheila is getting very emotional, and then she starts crying, and he asks her, are you okay? He thinks it's got something to do with her mother. She says that she's really sad that he's going to be leaving soon. And so I guess that made him feel good, that this feeling that she's having of him coming back to America and how she's going to miss him, and she doesn't want to be away from him. And so he thinks, what, this is the right time for me to ask her to marry me. And he was sweating profusely, and she even noticed it. She was like, why are you sweating so much? And he says, because it's really hot. And she's like, no, it's not, I'm fine. And his shirt is absolutely drenched. Okay. It's like somebody poured an entire bucket of water on him. That's how much he was sweating. So it's either now or never. So he gets up and he gets down on one knee, and he takes out the little box, and he says what he says. And then he proposes to her and asks her to marry him. And she gets really happy and emotional, and it's a really beautiful moment. And of course she says yes. He puts the ring on her finger, and it was really cute. It was a really cute moment. David and Sheila are the cutest couple on 90 Day Fiancé. They're the cutest couple. So she's happy. She's excited. They hug. They kiss. After that, he picks her up and he carries her back to the room. So David and Sheila, after all of the craziness of Gino and Jasmine and the psychological, what's the word? The psychological gymnastics of Christian and Cleo, and the dysfunctionality of Misha and Nicola. After all of that, David and Sheila, they're able to put a smile on my face, because it's like, finally, this is a normal couple going through the normal stages of a relationship that's developing. Yes, they have their issues and their ups and downs, but they approach everything in a very normal way. They had the worst tragic happen to them, which was Sheila's mom passing away. And everything that they do and how they interact with each other is still very relatable. You're not watching a circus like Gino and Jasmine. You're not you feel like you have to sign up for a course in human psychology just to try to understand Christian and Cleo. You're not trying to, figure out exactly what the hell is going on with Misha and Nicola. So David and Sheila, they always put a smile on my face. I'm so glad that they're on this season. They're not the most dramatic. They don't have the juiciest story, but it's just the one that's the most relatable. And that's why I appreciate them. Thank you so much for joining me. I do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to, rate the video. If you like my content, please subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.